Welcome to our short overview on the Septuagint and the rise of the Masoretic Text. We explore how Jewish scripture transitioned from the Greek Septuagint to the Hebrew Masoretic tradition, reflecting major cultural and theological shifts. We begin in Alexandria, Egypt. Here, Greek, not Hebrew, filled the streets. The Jewish community needed scripture in the language of the empire, so 70 Jewish scholars began a bold task, translating sacred words into Greek. The Septuagint was born as a lifeline for Jews far from Jerusalem. Greek-speaking Jewish communities across the Mediterranean embraced the Septuagint. It became the standard scripture for diaspora Jews, offering accessibility and unity through a shared language, ensuring that the teachings remained integral to cultural and religious life across diverse regions. The Septuagint played a crucial role in early Christianity as missionaries embraced its texts, utilizing the LXX to convey their messages. Apostles frequently quoted it, allowing Greek-speaking communities to connect with the teachings of Jesus. This deeply shaped early Christian theology. After the death of Christ, there were fundamental issues for Judaism regarding prophetic texts in the Septuagint. The Septuagint's Greek wording gave Christians powerful arguments for Jesus' identity. "Behold, a virgin shall conceive," reads Isaiah 7:14 in Greek. But Jewish scholars that disagreed started using the Hebrew text, "a young woman." These divergences weren't small. They ignited significant theological firestorms that pushed Judaism away from the Septuagint. In 70 AD, the world of Judaism shook as Roman legions burned the Second Temple. Ash filled the sky. Silence filled the courts where priests once stood. In the ruins, rabbis and survivors rebuilt Judaism, not around a temple, but around redefined scripture, memory, and teaching. To distance themselves from the Septuagint, Jewish scholars produced new Greek translations, each one intended to aim strategically closer to the Hebrew. Aquila crafted a very literal version. Symmachus wove a newly written Greek version, and Theodotion aimed for accuracy with readability. These translations eventually replaced the Septuagint in synagogues, now in place drawing a clear line between Jewish and Christian scriptures, protecting tradition, guarding interpretation, uniting a scattered Jewish people. Hebrew became the heartbeat of this renewal of Judaism, a fortress of cultural reinforcement. Reviving Hebrew helped unify Jewish communities and distance them from Greek-speaking Christians. As Christianity grew louder in Greek, Judaism withdrew into the sanctuary of its ancestral tongue. Scholars worked diligently to preserve and unify their sacred scriptures, laying the groundwork for the future Masoretic Text. Between 100 and 200 AD, a quiet revolution occurred. Jewish scribes began to unify their Hebrew manuscripts, standardizing wording, removing variants, and anchoring tradition. This proto-Masoretic text formed the backbone of Jewish scripture, shaping the Jewish faith for centuries to come. It was new scripture, refined through reinterpretation and memory. It still wasn't until centuries later, the Masoretes, the guardians of Hebrew scripture, finalized the text. They added vowel marks, musical notations, and scribal safeguards. Their work was said to preserve exact pronunciation, rhythm, and meaning, officially distinguishing its identity away from Christian culture and influence. From this point forward, two traditions stood side by side. Christianity held fast to the Greek Septuagint, quoting the voices of Jesus, the apostles, and the early church. Judaism embraced the Masoretic text, rooted in Hebrew identity and the legacy of the rabbis. Two communities, one ancient piece in history. But the Septuagint and Masoretic text are not the same. The Masoretic text rose as Judaism's answer to attempt to guard its traditions from Christian reinterpretation. So where do our Bibles stand in this split of interpretations in the modern day? Catholics rely on the Latin Vulgate, shaped by both Hebrew and Greek traditions. Orthodox Christians use the original Septuagint, the same scriptures the early church read and quoted by Jesus and his apostles. But Protestants, aligning themselves with the Hebrew canon, chose the books found in the Masoretic Text. One story, two traditions, three versions of the same ancient scriptures, each shaped by history, community, and faith. But to understand the Bible, we must first understand the journey its words have taken. Which path have you chosen? And after this information, what path do you choose?